Hello, friend. So today I want to talk about my build that I did previously. Share the behind the scenes, essentially, of how this came to be. This is an old build. All of this is old, and I am using my uh, Clip Paint Studio program to draw on this, so that way you guys can see. Let me give me a second to get into like some green or something, so that way you guys can see better. Anyways, this is an old build I've had. It's something that I was working on for a really, really long time, and I felt the opportunity since the building restrictions were lifted and it was a little bit easier to build in the shelters because of that, to go ahead and revamp this previous build that I did ages ago when I first started playing Fallout 76. Well, began playing it again, I should say, Fallout 76. And this build was essentially like my vampire mansion build, and in the bottom there was a secret entrance to the gambling area, or the, I guess, vampire pub or vampire hub, or I'll just call it Vamp Hub for now. But essentially, there are quote unquote vampires in the game of Fallout. I only found this out due to doing research and stuff to see if there was any type of vampires essentially in Fallout. I was curious. I do a lot of watching lore videos and stuff like that while I'm playing games and stuff, so that way, you know, I can basically kill two birds with one stone, especially if like I'm grinding out, say, bounties or caravans or something like that. That's just like repetitive tediness over and over again in the 76 universe. Essentially, this build became the Empire Mansion and the Undertow area. So, like I said, this was a build that was built ages ago. So the gambling part was up here, but Gamba here. The bar was here. There wasn't really anything here other than like other places to essentially like sleep, I guess. Over here, the train area was the, I don't know how to say this without sounding really weird, but essentially the pleasure district. We can call this the red district to be more pleasant in terms. We'll call it red district. And then back here in the back, where this kind of like tube is at, is it led into like another secret area. It's like the final like area, like where all the cryptids came together to basically chat with one another. That was that. There was a central hub and dance floor. There was nothing like really in the nook area that leads you into the shelter, because the shelter is the Root Cellar Shelter. It's such a tongue twister. So there was nothing for the nook area, so I left it kind of like there was like piles of junk everywhere. So that's in the back that way. So I'll just put junk piles for entrance. And I'm sad I did not get any more photos than this one, which kind of makes me upset because I thought I had more photos than this, and I think I might have deleted them by accident without realizing. But essentially, this is the only photo I have to be able to describe like everything and my thoughts behind the beginning before I started correcting everything. So with the Vampire Mansion and the shelter, I wanted to make it unison to where it was together, as well as to play on the idea of there's vampires that are in the game and that they do stuff, and that there's a secret in the Undertow. So with the House Always Wins contest that they had going on, I thought I would go ahead and try to get it more proper, especially with the building restrictions being lifted a little bit more, which helped give a little bit more leeway in the shelters, which is great. And that's what I did. So everything that I'm showing you now on screen is the whole showcase of going from start to finish. So before I like get into it completely, I'll describe here that the shelter is roughly, if I remember correctly, I think it's like 6 by 8 or 6 by 9, somewhere in there. So this way is like 6, and then from this corner to the corner back here is like 8 or 9. I can't remember the exact details. this one's technically like 5 6. So that's a big area, and then from this corner up, it's like 3, I believe. I'll have the exact details showing on screen to be 100% sure. But that basically gave like a lot of leeway on how this place is going to be set out. I know I wanted to keep the train in the build. I wanted the train to stay, and I know I wanted to have a bar, so that was going to stay, and I know I wanted to have the gambling area stay, but with that comes kind of restrictions on how to play things out. So you'll see me go through this. I'll leave it past this, but essentially the train, gambling, and bar needed to stay, and I needed to jury rig things around to figure out how I wanted it to look. And by the end of this, and if you've already seen it, you already know how this whole area looks, but this is how I will set it up. So I will let that play through, and I will talk to you guys in another video.